took place, and we would like to present all the stories for you, or just so you know what is happening in this area. So we will begin with the Minister for Foreign Affairs' decision to contest for the Commonwealth Secretary Generalship, and she mounted the platform during the 5th anniversary lecture series of the Council on Foreign Relations Ghana to make her intentions known. And of course, she has the support of the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. ECOWAS is also going to be featured on today's show. We will look at the 3 junta-led states, and they have decided to part ways with the regional bloc. According to them, the mission has reneged on its mandate and responsibilities with regard to the region, so they are no more interested in being part of anything. ECOWAS will look at that as well. And we will touch on Professor Techiwa Menua, who received the Franco-German Prize for Human Rights and Rule of Law prize. So we'll talk about that. And Israel, Germany observe International Holocaust Remembrance Day. We were there to capture that event as well. And Kenya opens its doors for more tourist exploration, especially focusing on Ghana. The Ghanaian market is very important. So these are the stories that will be rolling on today's episode of Diplomatic Affairs. I will be back right after this break. The 3 West African states under military rule, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, on Sunday, the 28th of January, announced their withdrawal from the regional bloc and on their national television channels. Now, the regional economic bloc has been pushing for the return of the 3 states to democratic rule. I'm sure they haven't been too happy with all the sanctions that have been implemented to ensure that they give away power, or they give out power. Now, according to them, ECOWAS has reneged its founding mission after 49 years. Now, this was the spokesperson for the junta speaking, and I quote, ECOWAS has reneged its founding mission after 49 years. The valiant peoples of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger regretfully and with great disappointment observe that the ECOWAS organization has drifted from the ideals of its founding fathers and the spirit of Pan-Africanism. That was Colonel Amadou Abdrahmani, the Niger junta spokesman. Now, in a response to the withdrawal, we've also heard ECOWAS say that it hasn't officially received any formal notification about the withdrawal. Now, per the ECOWAS treaty, any country or member state that wants to withdraw from the bloc must actually ensure that it has written, or given prior notice of 1 year. So you must ensure that you've written 1 year notice to ECOWAS before you can exit. Now, we don't even know whether the junta has actually made this move by writing to the regional bloc with regard to their decision not to do business or not to be part of the Economic Community of West African States anymore. A few experts that we've spoken to have, some reservations with regard to this move by the junta.
There is no implications on ECOWAS, and neither is there any implications on the defected members. Very simply put, the team, the 3 countries, the 3 parties, the 3 friends, don't forget, they are core members and founding members of ECOWAS. In 1975, any of the 3 countries were part. Therefore, they have equal value, equal importance, just like any other country else. They've been sidelined, in my view, by ECOWAS as a result of what ECOWAS termed or claimed as a sanction. Why was the sanction? The sanction was necessitated by a coup d'etat. The coup d'etat ECOWAS claimed took out or set aside a legal binding constitution of those respective countries. However, the implications, then I refer the implications leading to that was that Mali was under fire by insurgents, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Maghrib, jihadist group, Boko Haram related groups, all operating in Mali, taking Mali military, people of Mali in ransom, killing, abduction, rape, etc. ECOWAS, in my view, did nothing to support Mali regime to fight. Neither the existing or the then government from time of Alpha Conari, none of them did anything with it. So the military, Assimi Goïta, who was a liaison between the National Army of Mali with the French that supposedly were seen to the end of the fight. Nevertheless, the atrocities were still ongoing. Gao, Timbuktu area were all under siege by 14 active rebellion groups. ECOWAS didn't mobilize themselves to go to the aid of Mali. Out of that, Assimi Goïta 1, Assimi Goïta 2, meaning he did the first coup, Mali was drawn into the picture. One would have thought ECOWAS went in. His reasons was the fact that nothing against the Mali constitution except the bombardment and then the arbitrary, the killings of the innocent citizens. ECOWAS didn't do anything, only to reprimand and sanction Mali, Assimi Goïta 1. And then Ba Ndao came in to take. Through his time for 6 months, leading to 8 months, it was the same story. So Assimi Goïta 2, he came back to pick up power. Then Peduasi, Declaration 1, Declaration 2, Mali sanctioned. It's hanging there. Nothing had been communicated to them. ECOWAS sanction means that the chair of the Mali had been turned to the table, so they are not talking. Then there was a coup d'etat taking place in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso was as a result of mass protests against Blaise Compaoré's regime that brought an interim government leading to elections for Kabore to come. Kabore's 5 years almost in power didn't also resolve the issue of the same insurgents and then also abduction, killings, rape, etc., exploitation, extortion, and all manner of those forms that you can think of against the people, villages, nationals, citizens of Burkina Faso. ECOWAS didn't come in, thereby calling for Damiba's coup d'etat to overthrow Kabore. ECOWAS didn't go to the aid of Burkina Faso. When Kabore was overthrown by Damiba, the core issue here was that they were going to fight the rebels. Being a military man, being the reason why of overthrowing Kabore's regime, he was doing nothing, relaxed as usual like any civilian. Then Traoré came in. When Traoré came in to overthrow him, it wasn't a coup d'etat that somebody was killed. Just like Assimi Goïta 1, Assimi Goïta 2, nobody died in this process. So for me, the regular coup that we do know, offensive, defensive fights, didn't take place in Burkina Faso. It was just an idea that the reason of taking Kabore was to enable us fight. You are not allowing us. So sign that you are not belonging to the government. You are leaving the government. So it was a peaceful arrangement between Musa Traoré, who was a third in command under Damiba's regime. So they just only approach him. The mass junta or the group are not happy with your leadership. So please show which of the West African countries you want to go. He selected Togo. They gave him a military helicopter, not under any arrest, nothing, flew to Lomé, and that was end. ECOWAS then sat and then again sanctioned Burkina Faso. But the issues leading to the coup d'etat, the people were still being killed, the killings were still going on. ECOWAS didn't say anything about it. So Traoré's regime against what? Damiba, or against what? Kabore. So they were sanctioned. Nothing was communicated to them thereafter. Then the same thing happened in Niger. Bazoum's government that succeeded Mohamed Issoufou. Mohamed Issoufo's regime of 10 years was being successful and being the second time and primarily the first and Niger government having gone through the 2 terms secured without any coup d'etat in the Republic of Guinea. And it was made possible by no other person as Chiani, who is the head of state now. He rather was commander-in-chief and then general guiding the presidency, securing what is called the constitution making sure that nobody can stage a coup in the Republic of Niger by this same Chiani. So he saw through the government and then the presidency of Issoufou Mamadou. After Issoufou Mamadou completed his term, he gave to Bazoum. ECOWAS is aware. If not, I'm reminding them that Bazoum, who was the president of the Republic of Niger, was accused being a sponsor and a member of Ansawad Ansadine. Those rebels who were creating issues, fomenting troubles within the northern east and the northern part of where Niger. And indeed is an Arab. The Arabians, Niger forms part of only 3% of the entire Niger population. And he is from Ghat and then Ghat of the Libya side. He has much less to do with the Republic of Niger. Let me admit and acknowledge that yes, he is a Nigerian citizen. Nevertheless, this is a person that was known on records that he was accused of being a sponsor of these rebellion groups, and also in bed and alliance with the French. I'm not the one to validate or justify that was the case, but that was it. So Issoufou Mamadou brought him to replace him as his political protege. So when he brought him and he came into power, that is where the issue of the rebellion activities, killing of Niger people, innocent souls, innocent blood, in Arlit, in Asamaka, in Zender, in Agadas, and all the villages. I'm rendering ECOWAS not existing in the history of the ECOWAS existence, not just null and void. They are not existing. There is no economic activity already primarily going on among the ECOWAS member states since its inception. There had never been any successful economic activity. Trading and movement of people across the border is not economic activity. It is just a normal trading to earn a daily meat. It is nothing. Serious nations that are into that are members of organization have what is called a substantial benefit, long-term benefits, not just only a day-to-day, a normal woman traveling and trading in basket. So back to Bazoum, and why Bazoum was also taken off from power was the fact that one day over 42 people were grabbed and robbed and put together like firewood and lighted them up in Zender, and all of them perished. So Chiani at the presidency had gone to the Mr. President and informed him that this is what is happening in our country. So the military has the power to go and fight on our own instead of relying on the 1,000 French army that are doing nothing. And then he was told that he is calling Macron, the president of the Republic of France, and His Excellency Macron is asleep. And when he's up, he gives him directions, he will follow up. So 3 days, Macron was not awake, leading Chiani to take government. And mind you, ECOWAS got it wrong. He did not set aside the constitution of the Republic of Niger. He said that until the president instructs the army to go and fight the rebels, he should set aside. Interestingly, any of the three coups d'etats that we are talking about, Mali army did not fight with Assimi Goïta. Burkina army did not fight with Moussa Traoré because the army and they are to defend the constitution because no constitution was disposed. So they didn't fight with him. Chiani did not set aside. Niger did not engage into any fight. So ECOWAS, all the three countries put together, the citizens on to about number of 80 million for these three countries. Has ECOWAS, after sanctioning the three countries, have they gone there to check whether the people, how they received the coup d'etat or how it is? Happily, all the three countries are so joyous, very happy, and then very happy that events, development, infrastructure, everything had normalized. They're going about their duties and no security problems. And the villages that were being bombarded under siege, all the villages virtually are cleared. So that should have been the basis of ECOWAS to start discussing that, okay, if this has taken place, let's solidify the situation and the calm and the peace, but then prepare roadmap for a transfer of power from the military regime back to civilian, to constitutional rule. That ECOWAS did not exhaust that which is called diplomatic local remedy. How does talks ongo? How is it ongoing without bringing them back to the same Peduase Declaration 1 and 2, without inviting them to talk? How has ECOWAS communicated their messages across? When were they invited? But then to buttress the point, don't forget, it was just 5 days after Chinese takeover or set aside of Bazoum's government, ECOWAS President Tinubu Ahmed Jagaban, the President of the Republic of Nigeria, issued instructions asking them to set aside, else he was coming in. I'm sorry to say he spoke very undiplomatically because he didn't know the game. And ECOWAS was talking tough. They were talking tough because they said they were mobilizing to go out there and said push the government aside. One thing they forgot was the fact that there wasn't any fight between the army and the coup takeovers, or those who took up power. So it means that there was already a natural calm. The only demonstration that we saw was them instructing and asking the French embassy to leave. Besides, the whole country was united and unified in support of the Chinese government, leading to, as we speak, I'm not the one talking about, Forbes on record, World Economic Platforms and Forums on record, the fastest growing economy within the last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, in the whole entire West Africa, which Ghana, almighty Ghana is part, Nigeria is part, Benin is part, Togo is part, Cote d'Ivoire is part. The fast growing economy is Republic of Niger, under which ECOWAS claims that they are what? They have coup, or they've staged a coup. So if you have such development, and the people in the Republic, the people are happy, and the citizens are happy, they are not complaining, at what point would ECOWAS not look at the diplomatic pathway and use the diplomatic corridor to support and help the people of these 3 countries or 3 governments and find a way to fine-tune how to return to normalcy, constitutional regime called democratic government, if that was the view of the ECOWAS? In view of that, nothing has happened. So if all of them cease themselves to withdraw, I'm to tell you that that is not the first time a country has withdrawn from the ECOWAS. Mauritania have withdrawn from ECOWAS. Sao Tome and Principe, St. Anthony, Cameroon was part at a point. So what led to the Mauritania also leaving the ECOWAS? Guinea-Bissau at a point threatened to leave the ECOWAS. Why is it? The history has said that. Ghana staged coup more than 7 to 8 times from 1970 in the 70s. Ghana was not set aside by ECOWAS. Nigeria staged the same number of coups. From Alonso, Murtala Mohammed, Olusegun Obasanjo, Buhari with Major General Idi Agbon, Babangida, Sani Abacha. All these people staged coup. Nigeria was still not sanctioned. What about La Côte d'Ivoire has staged a coup before? Charles Gay, Robert Gay. Côte d'Ivoire was not sanctioned. So if there had been coup d'etats, Mali had had coup d'etat before, and there had been coup d'etats in other countries, they were not sanctioned. So you cannot sanction a member of your organization that has had a coup d'etat and the citizens, which the leaders are the military as we call it, are calm and happy and security is restored. So ECOWAS got it wrong. If ECOWAS has anything to do, prevention is better than trying to cure. Right now, the trouble brewing within the ECOWAS is another issue of Macky Sall, President of Republic of Senegal, whereas he has made sure that there's no opposition leader because Ousmane Sonko is under house arrest, haven't done anything. His tenure of office, 2 terms mandate, had expired, giving way normally for an election to take place in Senegal. Now Macky Sall has extended his regime based on flimsy state of emergency. ECOWAS have not spoken. Now when there was an attempted coup on Madebie of Sierra Leone in November just last year, 3 months ago, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana and the same democratic quote-unquote Macky Sall were the people who went to Sierra Leone telling Madebie to release Alex Kuruma to go in exile. But here's the case. Evidences, arrests made, reportage, interviews made on the coup plotters, And where the coup plotters were arrested, they arrested the coup plotters in the house, in the home, in the bedroom, in the living room of the former president of Republic of Sierra Leone, Alex Kuruma. On top of it, on record, telling the coup plotters that anybody who brings the head of Madabiu will be paid in his bedroom $500,000, the former president. On top of that, ECOWAS had gone there. I'm confirming to you that His Excellency the President and Macky Sall were the two ECOWAS leaders who went there. And then the Sierra Leone authorities showed them and played to them what the evidences were. Yet, ECOWAS were making preparation that Alex Kuruma be transferred to Abuja to avoid what? There should be a punitive measures. I'm not saying that yes, but if confirmed, of all the people they've arrested and the 28 people, innocent people, who were cold-blooded dead, who were killed in that particular coup d'etat, ECOWAS they are yet to issue a statement. You and I and most Africans, West Africans, are not even aware that a coup had taken place in Sierra Leone. What did ECOWAS say? Nothing. So ECOWAS cannot be a mother and father who decides to choose among his or her children whom to love and whom to hate, whom to sanction and whom to talk to. So back to your economic question, there's no economic activity because ECOWAS member nation has never helped a fellow ECOWAS member. In other words, Ghana needed 3 billion, a question I put across, that a serious organization of 1975, 49 good years in power of 15 countries, solidly cannot raise $3 billion for a member country that was in distress. It took Ghana 1.5 years to 2 years, combing and camping, and then also soliciting for international support to beg the IMF for 3 billion. In effect, ECOWAS fails to exist because the economic values, which have been the undertone and one of the most pivotal requirement, or why they founded the ECOWAS, had not been met in any case. Regardless, aside that, our free movement had not been established. It is not practiced. Regardless, right of residence and right of this had all not been. So ECOWAS fails to exist.
Hopefully, we hope that there will be some negotiations or the diplomatic channels will be activated for, for a peaceful, decision to be made regarding the move by the junta. The Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS Court of Justice, in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, has organized a sensitization program to create awareness on the services of the court. In his opening remarks, Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Honorable Kweku Amprechum Sapon, reiterated Ghana's unwavering support for the court through active participation in the activities of the court. Now, Head of Legal and Research Nketia Apreku, in an interview, also explained the roles of the court, aims, achievements so far, as well as some challenges the court is faced with.
The ECOWAS Court of Justice, established in 1991, stands as a cornerstone institution dedicated to upholding the rule of law, protecting human rights, and fostering regional integration across West Africa. For over 3 decades, the court has been instrumental in promoting legal harmonization, ensuring access to justice, and resolving disputes among member states. The ECOWAS Court of Justice thus plays a pivotal role in upholding the rule of law, promoting human rights, and fostering regional integration. Today's program, therefore, serves as a vital platform to bridge the gap between the court and the citizens itself, thereby enabling a greater understanding of the court's mandate, functions, and avenues for redress. Over the years, Ghana has demonstrated unwavering support for the ECOWAS Court of Justice through active participation in its proceedings, adherence to its decisions, and collaboration with the court's mechanisms. The nation's proactive engagement exemplifies its dedication to upholding the rule of law and advancing justice within the region. Ghana's commitment serves as a testament to the pivotal role the court plays in promoting legal harmonization, and resolving disputes within the ECOWAS community.
The court as an institution of ECOWAS actually is coordinated with the other institutions of ECOWAS by the Secretariat, that is the ECOWAS Commission. What I know is that there's early warnings committee that are sent into these countries to monitor infractions of our electoral laws and the rest. Once such infractions are flagged, and then the people who are affected, let's say if a political party thinks that some of the doings of the certain government is not agreeing with, they can come to the court to remedy the situation. And we've done it several times in Cote d'Ivoire and other places. So the proactiveness of the people who are concerned in the electoral matters will also help the courts in living up with these responsibilities. The entire community is very much aware of the hardship that is being occurring in the country. So we are advocating for more judges in order to create more chambers and panels in handling cases. But I think it wouldn't be ideal at this time because we are all aware. Ghana is not peculiar. All other member countries, when you go, they talk about economic hardship. And the funding of all ECOWAS institutions actually is from the member states.
Hello there, welcome back. The show is Diplomatic Affairs. Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Butchie, has said Commonwealth countries need to create over 50,000 decent jobs to provide opportunities for young people entering the labor market. Now, she is of the view that labor mobility does not correspond to the labor rigidities within the Commonwealth itself, therefore leading to a denial in market skills and resources needed to create goods and services to power greater inclusive growth and wealth creation. The minister made the remarks when she took her turn at the 5th lecture series of the Council on Foreign Relations, Ghana.
In the cases of the Caribbean and the Pacific, because of their very small populations, they lack economies of scale. And this is made worse by high transportation and marketing costs for the Pacific countries, because they are located very far from the key markets of Europe, or the United States, or China, or Japan. In addition to these constraints, their efforts to attract foreign direct investment have also not been very successful. They account for 0.1% of global investment flows. In nearly all Commonwealth countries, social mobility is stalling, even though the future world of work, including climate adaptation, opens new possibilities through the way we teach our young, leverage innovation and services through ICT, social media, automation, and artificial intelligence. Jobless growth, or wealth creation with high unemployment and rising cost of living, characterizes nearly all our economies. Commonwealth countries need to create over 50,000 decent jobs each day until 2030 in order to provide opportunities for our young people who are entering the labor market. It is estimated that together, Commonwealth countries need to create 3 in every 5 jobs in the world, as the labor market in countries such as Japan, China, and Europe shrink. Within the Commonwealth itself, labor mobility does not correspond to the labor rigidities of our economies, denying markets the skills and resources that are needed to create goods and services which are needed to power greater inclusive growth and wealth creation. And we have failed to draw the link between young tech workers, the ubiquity of services they provide, and anxiety over physical migration. The Commonwealth should support the specific needs and concerns of small island states in fisheries subsidy negotiations at the WTO. Ocean sustainability in general and sustainable fishing stocks and practices are critical to the development of the ocean economy in island states, and especially to the millions of mostly poor people who make their living through fishing. Services provide a major area for re-envisioning, including potential wealth creation and life-enhancing areas of life, such as portability of health insurance, medical data, banking services, etc., are across our Commonwealth. Commonwealth businesses are key to developing the products, markets, and the integration needed to create a consumer boom and greater prosperity for all of us. Under youth education skills, innovation, and startups, young people in the Commonwealth constitute a third of all young people in the world. So every 1 in 3 young people are Commonwealth members. With advances in ICT, automation, and AI, and the innovations of social media for distance learning, building the tech and other workers of the 21st century for a Commonwealth-wide market of high knowledge, intensive innovation, and services is an achievable goal in the short term. We can do this if we put our minds to it. I believe that we are in this together. I believe that if we are to meet the ambitions of the citizens of the Commonwealth, it is clear that we need a development cooperation framework that works for all the Commonwealth as a community. Such a model cannot be based on the assumptions of progress, under which assistance from rich donors to recipient nations lead to slow, incremental change in the developing countries and locks in financial and other inflows to the donor countries. Either way, this is a cooperation model that is not working for industrialized or developing parts of the Commonwealth. We need to do things differently. We have to redefine the Commonwealth values. The commitment to democracy and peace, justice and human rights as the sum of a democratic dividend that includes guaranteeing a high living standard for each Commonwealth citizen, and also to provide social protection for all generations.
The minister has the support of Ghanaians. We are proud of her, and of course we would love to see her occupy this position for the good of humanity. Welcome back. You're still watching Diplomatic Affairs with me, Harriet Nate. Now, away from that, let's take you to the Alisa Hotel, where the High Commissioner of Kenya to Ghana, His Excellency Elifaz Barin, is very optimistic that African countries have what it takes to free itself from foreign aid and develop the continent on her own self-reliance. He said this at the presentation of Kenya's tourist destination, which took place right here in the capital city of Ghana.
Tourism plays a very, very, very critical role in our economic development. It makes a huge contribution. In our own economy, is the second highest in GDP and also foreign exchange earner. And therefore, we have a lot of people that are reaching out, traveling, and spending money. So we need to find ways to attract more people to come. And the only way to do that, first of all, is begin to diversify our products. Second, in my mind, is we need to improve on the product that we have. Thirdly, it is the customer experience, so that when we are providing this service, it is up to global standards. There are no African standards, there are no other standards. Standards are standards. And all of us need to embrace that in order to create that experience, we have to up our game, improve on our skills, so that when a visitor comes, a tourist visit, there is value for money and is looking forward either to make referrals or to come back. What is this one thing that makes them come? And when they make it a habit to come and we improve on our product, it means more premium, more high net worth visitors will come, leave more money to ourselves, and that is a big contribution. How does that work? Because if we have more visitors, there will be more investors in terms of facilities, there will be more investors in terms of movement, so we employ drivers, we employ people in the hospitality, we will have investment in the hotel and all other sectors, but importantly also including the suppliers of food and so on and so forth. And it will also create opportunity for institutions to build training and so on and so forth. And therefore, when you're looking at the contribution as an ecosystem, it's so diverse that it cuts across every single sector. It will come to entertainment, it will come to news, it will come to everything that we can talk about. So diverse, and it can go even far ahead, whereby you're talking about either film as an industry that brings more money, and therefore the numbers and of course the opportunity is completely endless. All that we need to do is we must up our game, we must provide quality service, our clients must live happy and having an account of value for their money.
Right, moving on, the former director of the Institute of African Studies, University of Ghana, Legon, Professor Techiwa Menua, has been awarded the Franco-German Prize for Human Rights and Rule of Law. Professor Techiwa Menua received the award for advocating for the defense of human rights and the rule of law. The prize comes on the back of the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The award was also received by 12 eminent human rights defenders from countries across the globe. This was a joint program organized by the French and the German embassies right here in Ghana.
The Franco-German Treaty of Friendship, what we call the Élysée Treaty, was signed. This treaty was designed to seal the reconciliation between France and Germany, and it also symbolized the deep friendship which unites our two countries. So today, on this anniversary of the Élysée Treaty, founder of Franco-German cooperation, we gather tonight with our German friends to present the Franco-German Prize for Human Rights and the Rule of Law. Professor Menu, and your tireless commitment to human rights and the rule of law, you had this sense of justice ingrained in you from an early age. You have worked mainly as a teacher and researcher, but you have also held positions on various committees, notably at the UN Economic Commission for Africa. And in each of your positions, you have committed yourself to gaining a better knowledge and understanding of the world around you. Our aim, France and Germany, with this award is to thank you for the work you've accomplished and also to honor you so that the younger generation can continue your commitment. So we rely on you to continue to do more and more.
We celebrated the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and on the occasion of this, we award the Human Rights Prize, the French-German Human Rights Prize, to 10 and maybe sometimes 12 individuals from all over the world that are suggested by the French and German embassies jointly. And looking at the situation that we have in Ghana, we thought there is not a single person more fitting to receive the prize than Professor Manu. Professor Manu has always and steadfastly upheld the rule of law, human rights, an academic and an activist approach at the same time fighting for the core principle of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is that all humans are born free and equal.
Now, expressing her gratitude, Professor Menua accepted the honor done her and said there is the need to recognize the intersectional ties among human rights and the rule of law, an inclusive society and a dynamic civil society.
We must also recognize the intersectional ties among human rights and the rule of law, an inclusive society and a dynamic civil society. Adherence to the rule of law, for example, cannot consist of a selective promotion of some rights over others, or political considerations of what and whose rights we will defend when it suits us. Ghana's democracy is still young and a work in progress that we must seek to ground in our everyday actions and concerns without regard to parochial interests. Tonight, as I stand here among family, friends, and colleagues who have supported and encouraged me in my work, I'm humbled by the recognition that has been conferred on me. I thank the French and German embassies in Ghana for recommending me for the award.
Let's talk about Israel and Germany. Israel and Germany observe International Holocaust Remembrance Day, where the event took place at the residence of the German ambassador right here in Ghana. Israel and Germany observed this year's International Holocaust Remembrance Day in a solemn ceremony with ambassadors of both countries praying for the continuous rest of all victims and stating that inhumane activity never and ever happens again.
As German ambassador, it is my sad obligation on this day today, when we commemorate the victims of the Shoah, to reiterate the undeniable fact that it were Germans who burned numbers on the forearms of the Jews, trying to reduce them to numbers. It were Germans who tried to dehumanize and deported the Jews. Many who silently stood on the sidelines, those who planned, those who murdered, the perpetrators, almost all of them were German.
I stand here as a member of a people, the Jewish people, who lost 6 million individuals in the Holocaust perpetrated by German Nazi regime. In the words of the late Attorney General Gideon Hausner in his opening speech at the trial of Adolf Eichmann, he said, quote, "Their ashes are piled up on the hills of Auschwitz and in the fields of Treblinka, and are strewn in the forests of Poland. Their graves are scattered out the length and breadth of Europe. Their blood cries out, but their voice is not heard. I stand here filled with deep sense of pride and purpose. Yet, at the same time, I stand with a heavy heart and a sense of dismay, reflecting on the lessons that remain unlearned, the enduring presence of hate, and the bias that persist uneroded. Almost 80 years after the Holocaust, there are fewer and fewer survivors who can tell their story. These stories must continue to be told, and we are obliged to remember. But this is not enough. As a society, as a community, we have an obligation to remember and understand the lessons of the Holocaust so that they serve as a warning to where blind hate and racism lead to.
This year's theme, recognizing the extraordinary courage of victims and survivors of the Holocaust, reminds us of the importance of acknowledging the bravery of those who resisted Nazi dehumanization and fought for dignity and humanity. As we remember those who died and the survivors, let us not forget that the world continues to experience some of the traits of the Holocaust. It is sad to note that despite this experience, there is growing political instability, escalating hate and religious bigotry, increasingly driven and amplified through social media, artificial technology and artificial intelligence and information technology. The purpose of our gathering here will be meaningless if we don't take collective action and steps to address these disturbing occurrences. We have a collective responsibility to address the residual trauma, maintain effective remembrance policies and practices, care for historic sites, promote awareness, education, documentation, research, and now more than ever since that terrible genocide. This responsibility entails educating people about the causes, the consequences, and the dynamics of such crimes to empower young people to identify early and resist ideologies of hatred.
Right, in conclusion of today's episode, let's take you all the way to the residence of the High Commissioner of India to Ghana as they celebrated 75th National Republic Day. It was all pomp and pageantry, very colorful ceremony. The Republic of India has observed its 75th National Republic Day here in Accra, with the government tasking citizens to stay committed in ensuring the growth of their country. Let's take you to the event.
The 75th year of the Republic is truly a historic milestone in the journey of the nation in many ways. This is an especially festive occasion, just as we celebrated the unique greatness and diverse culture of our nation during the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav when we completed 75 years of independence. Tomorrow is the day when we celebrate the commencement of the Constitution. Its preamble begins with words, "We, the people of India," highlighting the theme of the document, namely democracy. In India, democratic system is much older than the concept of Western democracy. That is the reason why India is called the mother of democracy. After a long and difficult struggle, on 15th August 1947, India became free from foreign rule. Yet, the task of framing the principles and processes that would govern the country and unleash its true potential was still a work in progress. The Constituent Assembly spent nearly 3 years, holding detailed discussions on all aspects of governance and produced the great founding document of our nation, the Constitution of India. Today, the nation gratefully remembers the leaders as well as the officials who contributed to the framing of a splendid and inspiring constitution. The nation is in the early years of Amrit Kaur, the period leading to the centenary of independence. This is the time of epochal transformation. We are given a golden opportunity to take the country to new heights.
आज से हमसे याद मेरी मैं तुमको ना छूने दूंगी जान को चाहे छलनी कर दो मान को ना छूने दूंगी
All too soon, this is where we draw the curtains to today's production. It is always a pleasure to have you join us. We know that you look forward to happenings in the world of diplomacy and international relations on the only show that brings you all the information, Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nate. See you same time next week.